are some news updates for Monday, the 18th day of January 2021. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has recorded 1,444 new cases of the coronavirus in the country, going by information on its official website late on Sunday. The new infections have taken the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases to 110,387, which includes 89,317 discharged cases and 1,435 deaths, while the 1,444 new cases were registered from 20 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, with 15 deaths in the past 24 hours. Lagos, Plateau, and Kaduna recorded the highest number of COVID-19 infections on Sunday, with 901, 136, and 57 cases respectively, while the country has tested 1,154,138 people since the first confirmed case of COVID-19 was recorded on February 27, 2020. A faction of Ohanaeze Ndigbo has dragged the newly elected president of the association, Professor George Obiozor, to court, describing his election as illegal. The faction, led by Uche Okuku, in an application filed on January 14th before the Federal High Court sitting in Buhari, Abuja, is praying that Obiozor should be restrained from parading himself as the President General of the Apex Igbo Socio-Political Association following the elections organized by the John Nnianwudu-led Ohanaeze Ndigbo in Owerri, Imo State. The claimant said Obiozor was a product of an illegal election held in Owerri on January 10, 2021, hence the court should restrain him, his agents and servants from summoning any meeting whatsoever of Ohanaeze Ndigbo without consultation with the Secretary General, as the Constitution demands. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, has reacted to reports that he paid $5 million bribe to the Attorney General of the Federation, Bribing Malami, to secure the appointment of a sole administrator for the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC). Akpabio also described the report as false, even as Malami has denied the report, saying those behind the report should provide evidence to back up their claims. A statement by Akpabio's Chief Press Secretary, Anete Ekong, insisted that the report was the handiwork of mischief makers, calling on the authors of the fake news to back up their claims or face the full wrath of the law. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has listed 5 main areas of likely challenges that could confront the Commission in the conduct of elections and the 2023 general elections, to include expanding voter access to polling units in the context of a growing population, the growth of new settlements across the country, and validation of the voters' roll and continuous voter registration in the shadow of COVID-19 pandemic. It further listed the amendment of the Electoral Act that will improve the conduct of free, fair, transparent elections, deepening technology in electoral process, rolling out voting machines for the Anambra State governorship elections, how to increase voters' turnout in future elections, and how to effectively manage electoral success recorded in the last 2 off-season elections in Edo and Ondo states as other areas of concern for the Commission. The National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, identified the areas at the end of a 5-day workshop at the weekend for review of INEC Voter Education Manual, held by Department of Voter Education and Publicity, with the aim of identifying and including best methods of designing voter education messages to increase citizens' participation in electoral process. Okoye said the Commission should take on board societal changes and dynamics, urging the participants to design new methodologies of delivering civic and voter education in the context of a pandemic. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Northern Youth Leaders Forum, a coalition of 42 youth groups, has called for the zoning of the presidency to Northeast Geopolitical Zone. Has called for the zoning of the presidency to the Northeast Geopolitical Zone. The group's national chairman, Comrade Elliot Afio, maintained that the Northeast was denied that opportunity in 2015 and should first be pacified, while the Southwest that entered into an agreement with the North in APC, whether right or wrong, should also be considered. To buttress their viewpoint, Afio said the decision of former President Goodluck Jonathan to contest for a second term against the initial political agreement in the People's Democratic Party (PDP) brought President Muhammadu Buhari and by extension the All Progressive Congress (APC) to power, alleging that security challenges facing the nation today was what brought the alliance between the north and the southwest part of the country. The ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) has won all 44 chairmanship and 484 councillorship seats and returned elected in Kano local government elections. The winners were declared despite Kano Civil Society Situation Room's Kano State Independent Electoral Commission accredited observers who alleged cases of underage thumbprinting of ballots at 2 polling units as well as low turnout of voters during the election. The Kansieg chairman, Professor Garba Ibrahim Sheka, declared candidates of APC at the 44 local governments returned elected with a total of over 2 million votes, stating that the entire conduct of the election was relatively peaceful and devoid of crisis, irrespective of pockets of skirmishes at some polling units, which he said was sooner brought under control. Although the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) had officially announced their withdrawal from the contest, Professor Sheka insisted that the polls were keenly contested with 12 political parties, including the PDP, taking part. On the foreign scene, Uganda's main opposition presidential candidate Bobi Wine says his life is being threatened following Thursday's election, which saw Yoweri Museveni win a 6th elected term. The singer-turned politician had rejected the results of the elections, alleging irregularities, while the incumbent president and winner Museveni called it Uganda's fairest elections ever, despite the violence that marred the campaigns, leading to the death of thousands of people, with the government shutting down the internet days ahead of the voting day. 38-year-old former pop star turned politician Bobi Wine stated that he was worried about his safety and that of his family, as he has not been allowed to leave his house, which was surrounded by security forces, and further stated that going ahead, he and his party will explore several options, including peaceful protest, but will not include violent insurrection. U.S. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will resign from her Senate seat on Monday ahead of Wednesday's inauguration ceremony. Harris has already started the process by notifying California Governor Gavin Newsom and is expected to make an announcement on Monday, resigning from her Senate seat. Governor Newsom has already announced that he will appoint Alex Padilla, California's Secretary of State, to fill Harris' seat for the remainder of her term, which was scheduled to end in 2022. Meanwhile, Republican senators are wrestling over what they want their party's future relationship with Donald Trump to be after he leaves office on Wednesday. Faced with a deeply divided Senate Republican conference, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is giving his colleagues free rein to vote their conscience when Senate tries Trump on charges that he incited an insurrection. McConnell reportedly told his colleagues that he himself hasn't decided whether to vote to convict Trump on a House-passed article of impeachment, while associates describe him as being furious over the attack on the Capitol by a pro-Trump mob. And that's the news update at this time on Television Nigerian. Many thanks for watching. I am Charles.